So this week's parsha is LECH-LECHA. LECH-LECHA is where we see Abraham. We start with Abraham.
In other words, since it's not
Abraham,
a person,
he came on the
you don't
scene.
make a bracha when you're wearing the tzitzis.
Right, he was born from who? From Terach. His father was Terach.
Right.
Who was Terach? Right, it wasn't anyone great. The story goes that Terach had a house of idols. He used to sell idols.
Yeah, so
and
it's actually putting on your tzitzis.
one day, Abraham went in there and he saw that like we say in Hallel, we say that the idols, they have a mouth but they don't talk, and they have ears but they don't hear. So the pasuk in Hallel is that we describe the idols. We call the idols by a name Atabeim. Right? Check up the pasuk in Hallel. Atabeim. They are the ones that make us sad. They are the ones that make them sad. The people who serve them, they get sad because they get their hopes up and they pray to the idols, and then the idols don't help them. So therefore the pasuk in Hallel says Atabeim. They're the ones that make them sad. Kesef is zahav, is gold and silver. Maaseh Yedei Adam. It's just handiwork made by man. So Avraham was thinking about this, and he came to the conclusion. He started thinking. The Rambam says in Hilchos Avodah Zarah, the Rambam explains exactly how it started. So very interesting how the Rambam says that it started out when he started thinking. I'll tell you exactly how he brings it down.
Yeah, that's your seat. No,
I can't. I hang on.
I have a seat. That's yours.
It says that Avraham, here we go, it's in Perek Aleph.
You're absolutely right.
So it says after he became 3 years old, right? I think it's already right over here, when he was 3. Rambam explains how there came to be idol worship in the world. That there was a whole, it degraded, it went from bad to worse, that they made the sun at first to be an intermediary to help between us and God, and eventually they forgot about God and they just served the sun and the stars, and they had their own idols. So the Rambam then says when Abraham turned into, and this was, the world kept on going like that until Abraham came along. He was called the Amud. He's the pillar of the world. Amud Shel Ha'olam. So the Rambam says that once Abraham became weaned, let's say 2-3 years old, he started l'shoitesh b'daita. His mind started to wander, started thinking. He was still small, but he started to think day and night. It says Yom v'layla. He was thinking and thinking. And he was tameah. Tameah means what? No, tameh with a test is impure. Tameh with a tuf is wondering. He was in bewilderment. Hey, efshar, how is it possible that there should be such a big universe with everything going around, and it always works? The sun never fails to rise and to set. And he says, how is it possible that everything should be working so perfectly and there shouldn't be a leader? It must be someone is making the world go round. Someone is leading everything, all the sun and the rain and the moon. It has to be the creator.
The other pasuk says,
because it's impossible that it should make itself go around. It's impossible that everything should just go by itself. And there shouldn't be anyone teaching it. It's impossible.
You cover yourself with.
How does it know what to do?
When you're wearing garments.
So therefore, and the Rambam says he didn't have a Rebbe. The Rambam was a student. He did it himself. He was like they say that I made it by myself. I'm a self-made man. The Rambam, he says, didn't have a Rebbe. He didn't have anyone teaching him. Come, sit down, let me teach you Torah. He didn't even have anyone teaching him about a creator. But he came to it on his own. He felt there must be a creator.
The guy who's manufacturing puts it into the bag.
So it says,
when we buy a tooth, we buy with the strings already in there. So we don't.
If anything, he was the opposite. He was sunken in the city, in a place called Or Kasdim. Or Kasdim was a place where there was only Goyim serving. They were called literally Oivdei Kachavim. Oivdei Kachavim, literally, that's the name for Goyim. Right? And you see in the Gemara calls them Hakum. Akum, but it's an acronym for Ovdei Kochavim. They served the stars. That's who he was surrounded by. And he calls them Tipshim. They were Ovdei Kochavim Tipshim. A Tipesh is a fool. They were foolish all around. His father, his mother, the whole nation, they were all serving idols. And he was serving with them, but then his heart started to wander, and he started to understand and think about it until he reached the truth. He reached the emes, and he realized the straight path.
We don't know which side is 100% the string. It could be.
And once, because he was thinking straight, and he realized there must be a God, there must be one God, and he's the one who's leading the whole universe all around, and he created everything, and in anything that's found, there's nothing except for Hashem, who's the one who's behind it. There's only one Hashem, and he's behind everything.
I know, after when he put it on.
And he realized that everyone was making a big mistake. He realized what happened, how they came to this idea. They started serving the sun as an intermediary. He realized where that mistake came about, and that was at 3. And when he turned 40, he actually recognized Hashem. That's what the Rambam says. Okay. And then he started to give replies back to the people of that city, Or Kasdim. He started to have a little bit of a debate with them. He made a court with them, and he started telling them it's not the right way. And Shiber Hatzlamim, he started to break Shiber, the Tzelem, their idols.
Where was Shem and Abraham? Noah was still around too, no? I suppose I think there's a genealogy where it shows that Noah and Abraham they coexisted.
I think Noah had died before Abraham came around.
But surely Shem and
Noah was how many generations before? 10. So you think he was still around?
Yeah, they did overlap.
Had them all mixed up, wasn't it?
Yeah, probably like 58 years, 56 years.
and certainly Shem.
I thought Abraham, when he was a child, was in a dungeon, wasn't he?
No, it wasn't in a dungeon.
I thought the king, when he was born, Nimrod.
Yes.
Nimrod was like, this baby when he was born is going to be trouble. And his father hid him in a dungeon until he was like an adolescent.
Yeah.
And then released him, and then that's what he came, and the sun was so bright, and he was like so baffled and marveled by everything that he started having these ideas that how the universe works. And I just read that today. So
did you read about Abraham specifically?
Yeah.
No. It's similar to Paro. The Paro heard that there would be a Jewish savior that would be born that day. A boy, so that day he knew that he was being born. But in terms of Abraham, I didn't hear that he was taken into the dungeon. But they say over the story that Nimrod told him, if you think you have a god, he threw him into the fire. And Abraham came out unscathed. That's the story that they say from Or Kasdim. Or comes to the word light, fire, because that's the story that happened there. That's why it's Or Kasdim.
So sorry, just like with this Abraham and then if Noach was on his last days, I mean certainly the generation of Shem and Eber was around which were the from before and afterward and after that. Because Yaakov's but Rivka went to Yaakov went to the yeshiva.
Yeah, I hear what you're asking. I'm not sure. He overlapped 6 years before Noah died. He was with Noah for 6 years.
Maybe not in the same geographical area.
I brought those pictures in?
And then Shem were the sons of Noah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We have to find it. We have to know, but we have to know why. But it seems that he came to this. The Rambam is saying how he came to it all on his own.
And both are not mutually exclusive. It could be people that knew of God but just weren't in the area, like you say, the geographical area wherever.
Yeah, that's
technically without any others. Because even in this parasha, it comes to the priest that also serve God, right?
Right.
The parasha.
Right. So Kevin's saying a good answer. Kevin's saying very beautiful that Noah and Shem, they were preaching maybe about Hashem, or I don't know if Noah was such a preacher, he wasn't like Abraham who went out but at least they knew about it. But it doesn't mean that they were going out and broadcasting it. Avram was born, Rambam is saying Avram was born into a family full of people who worshipped idols, and he was in a town, the whole Or Kasdim was people who served idols. So therefore Avram, by nature, should have served idols.
He was the
He started thinking, and he took himself out from his whole nation because he said it doesn't make sense. So that's a beautiful answer, and based on this Rambam, right? And then he saw it didn't make sense, so he started thinking and thinking until he said, "You're wrong." But you're right. Maybe Noach and Shem, they were in maybe a different part of the world, or or maybe they were nearby, but everyone they thought they were those were Jews or so. There was an error. What?
Didn't know that an Arab. Did Mount Arab, like it's like Turkey or something.
Yeah, okay.
That's far away from where.
Yeah, so I have to see exactly. See where if they were near each other, but even if they were, but Avram had his city, so he should not have really thought about all this. He should have just served idols like his father did. But because he thought about it, so therefore he took himself out from his whole nation, and he started breaking the idols of his father. And the story goes that he broke all the idols except for the big one, and he put the sword, put the axe in the big one's hand, and he said, his father came home, what happened? He said the big one knocked all the little ones down. So that's how the story went. And he started preaching to everyone about that there's Hashem, and you should break all your idols.
Well, that's not their Raisa. What Shabbos on July 1st?
So he got so good, and he had so many good proofs that once Gavar Alim, he was so strong in his rayos, in his proofs, that it says Bikesh Hamelech lehargoi, that the king wanted to kill him. That's where it came out. The king wanted to kill him. So he threw him into the fire. That's where the story happened. They threw him into the fire because he was so powerful. He was making a whole revolution.
But when it talks about LECH-LECHA, that's not the first test.
Yes.
That's the first test of Avram.
Well, this is where we start with Avram, because last parsha all we had was that Avram was born.
No, but you said like the 10 tests of Avram.
Yes, this is the first test right here. Right here, when he realizes Hashem and he understood and he preaches about Hashem. Now Hashem spoke to him and told him the first thing, I want you to go out from your land and your birthplace, right? Your birthplace or Kasdim. I want you to go out from your house of your father to a separate land, which I'm going to tell you. That was the first test. Yes.
So the way I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, but after he destroyed the idols in his father's shop, his father wanted him to be re-educated as a pagan, and he sent him to the king.
Yeah.
And
what his father wanted?
Wanted to re-educate him as a pagan.
No, it says here that he was so powerful with his proofs that the king just wanted to kill him.
So the king, so he goes to the king. He's like, I don't think there are these pagans. He's like, well, I'm a god. The king painted himself a god. And to prove it, I'm going to put you in the fire. And if you burn, it proves I'm a god. And when he didn't burn, he was embarrassed and he banished him.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Good. Okay. Good. Excellent. It's, either way, right, you're just giving the details of what happened, but the idea that's what happened. So
we know that when a person's buried, they put him in a palace.
And then it says, and that's what sets the stage for Parshas LECH-LECHA.
If you made a palace.
And he started to call out. That's what we're going to see in Parshas LECH-LECHA with Abraham and Sarah, that they started to call out in the name of Hashem and tell everyone about Hashem. And he would go into each city and gather people and make gatherings and share and teach them about Hashem. And they would ask him, and he would tell everyone exactly Kefidai to each person according to what he needed to hear. He would tell them until he brought them back to the true path. Until he had thousands and 10,000s of people, and those are the people, the Anshe Beis Avram, the people of his house, and he put into their hearts this idea, this main idea that we have to know of Emunah. And he made Sfarim, and he taught it to his son Yitzchak, and then Yitzchak would go on and teach them, and Yaakov taught them, and then he goes on till they went down to Mitzrayim. That's how the Rambam puts us in.
Yeah, it's interesting
that
here.
I've never seen it. So when
Avram happens to be the father of Jews.
Yeah, right.
And yet we are, but Jews to the world, and yet it isn't in our tradition, Jewish tradition, to do cures to the world.
Very scary.
You know what I mean?
I remember carrying
The cure among ourselves, that's something else.
Yeah,
But
that's
going out and like preaching to the world about the...
Right, to the non-Jews, right, you have to...
Here he's going to everybody, which is so much, and he is the first Jew. It is so much.
I'm not considered.
But he wasn't a Jew yet, officially. There were
He was
no...
never considered.
Till Har Sinai, there really were no Jews.
So he's not considered to be a Jew.
Right.
Hebrew.
Right.
It's a shocking idea, but he's
There were no Jews till we...
Even so, when he does the performance of Bris Milah, that's not. He's doing that,
And that was a command. That was a commandment, but straight from Hashem. That was a one-time commandment. If we just would have had this parsha in the Torah, right, then the Jews wouldn't have a mitzvah of Bris Milah. Because the rule is, anything written in these first two parshas, that's where we learn out the 7 laws for Noach. The 7 laws for Noach. But we don't learn out any mitzvahs for us from these first few parshios. It has to be repeated, the mitzvah, in the later parshios. And if it's repeated again, so then this is for the Goyim. These are 7 Noachide laws. But anything further, if it's repeated again, then the Jews have it.
But when Yitzchak was born, Avram was commanded to Bris Milah on the 8th day.
Yeah, he had a mitzvah to give his son a bris, but that doesn't make every Jew have to have a bris milah. That does not obligate every Jew to have a bris milah. What obligates every Jew to have a bris milah is because the commandment was repeated in Parshas Tazria. It says, Tazria is all the way in the middle of Vayikra. It says, Isha Kisazria, if a lady has a baby, V'yolda Zachar, and she has a male, so it says there that she should give a bris milah.
So you're telling me that Avram is not a Jew?
He wasn't officially a Jew.
And what about? I can't believe you're saying that. How could you say that? Because we daven every morning.
It's true. We are.
It is. And you're telling me
It is a schus of Davis. We do have a great forefather.
That means if he's not a Jew, that means that
he's our forefather. He's our forefather. He's our forefather. He's not a Jew, but he was our forefather. And we ask in his merit that we want Hashem to listen to our prayers. So we start off the prayer saying, "You are Hashem, the God of Avram," because that is enough of a merit that you should listen to our prayers. What we're going to say.
That means that you're saying that everybody since the time of Matan Torah,
yes, right.
Make a bracha, and only according to the rough.
All those people.
We became a nation.
Israel.
That nation.
They were the nation.
We became a nation afterwards.
They were the nation.
We were not a nation. Yaakov, we had 70 people on our nation.
The 70 people that went in Israel were not Jews.
No, they're not a nation.
They're not a nation?
No, they were not a nation.
They refer all the time.
No, not the first time. That's common.
Who's the first Jew? He was the first believer in God. He was the first who came to it on his own. He believed, but he
obviously Noah must have known. He walked with God.
Is that right? So Noah did. It's true, but he was the first one, I guess, who came to it to his own recognition.
Through his own intellect.
Yeah.
God didn't tell him to stop talking.
Everyone knew there was God, because God created them, Adam and Eve.
It's a very hard
Right.
And that Cain and Abel also.
That's right.
Yeah, right. And then they lost this.
Then they started.
Well, Noah, God spoke to Noah too. But to Abraham,
Years ago, I reacted to that.
Logical deduction.
right.
And he must have been very pleasantly surprised when God actually spoke to him.
Well, God
That's a good confirmation.
God only spoke to Abraham
After
he made up his mind that there's somebody there.
Right.
But there was angels and stuff around. Even before Hashem presented himself.
There were angels, but they weren't a vision. You couldn't see them. You couldn't see an angel before. Avram himself, it's not even clear. We'll see next week's parasha
Yaakov had
that the angels came. It's not clear if
Angels
Avram
came to Sarah.
I'll give you a shot.
But it's not clear when.
You need a shot.
It's not clear if they
When Hagar had the kid,
and the angels came to Hagar. That's true. That's true. She had a special vision. Yeah, but you have to see each case. You're right. In that case, she had a special vision. But in general, people didn't see angels. Up to the point that we'll see in next week's parasha, by Yera with Avram, he had the bris milah. He wasn't feeling well, and the angels, the 3 angels came to visit him. They were dressed up as Arabs. So there's an argument in Rashi did Avram know who they were? He thought they were Arabs.
When he went to Bekaro.
Right, well,
he rushed out.
To bring them in. Speak of Cholim, to bring them into his house. Okay.
On the same note, just going the other way, because Nathan is like freaked out here, which I understand. But the name Israel is all the letters of the name Israel are the letters from Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Rivka, Rachel, Leah, and Sarah. Yud for Yaakov and Yitzchak, Shin for Sarah, Resh for Rachel, Aleph for Abraham, Lamed for Rachel, like all the Imachot and Avot are in the name Israel.
Then Jacob was the only one that got the name Israel. Right. Not Yitzchak, not Avram.
So now, here's the question. So today,
Israelites.
what's our job? So what's our job today? So now let's go to this idea with Avram. He went and thought about it and thought if it's possible, and he came to a logical deduction that must be that there's a God.
Someone was the creator of all this.
Right. Now, today, are we supposed to think through the proofs and try to come logically to believe in Hashem? Or maybe we shouldn't. Maybe we should just trust in our forefathers.
Both.
Or both.
There is a concept of Schos Avos.
That's for sure.
So,
merit of the father.
But they're not Jewish.
Right? But they're fathers. They are fathers.
Can I take him? He needs a shot. Can I take him for a whiskey? It's over.
He's your father. Who might be Jewish.
Who is a Jew? Who's a Jew?
What do you mean who's a Jew?
Who do you consider as a Jew? Who is a Jew?
What makes you Jewish?
What makes me Jewish? Or
What makes you think you're Jewish? Or what makes you think that everybody else is Jewish? You need to be Jewish. What makes somebody a Jew?
Because he's born into it.
No, but what makes him a Jew?
What makes
his father, his grandfather a Jew? What makes him a Jew?
Torah. It used to be they delivered the seers and you pick it up from the seers. I'm not sure how it works.
That's
right. You answer your own question. They didn't have the Torah till after
I understand, but there is a concept of Torah Shalfeh that was transferred from God to the Avos.
No. Well, they didn't know. They didn't get the Torah. How did they know? They didn't.
Wait a minute. They didn't have the Torah. What did they have?
They did keep the mitzvahs.
The truth is, you're right. They did keep the mitzvahs. They did. Avram
knew about it.
He knew about it.
You telling me Avram worked on Shabbos?
He didn't. He kept the Torah. It says Avram.
He kept the Torah. So now you're telling me that even though he kept the Torah,
he didn't have any. He wasn't commanded.
Commanded to keep it.
He wasn't commanded.
That's a higher level.
He did it because
that's a higher level.
He had special.
That's a higher level that you and everybody here cannot comprehend and understand. Okay? How could you come?
Would he have been punished if he was not kept Shabbos?
Huh?
Would he have been punished?
We're talking about a person that had a relationship.
You didn't answer my question.
Huh?
You didn't answer my question.
I can't answer it because you know why?
Would he have punished? Would he have been punished?
And probably not.
That's right.
Probably not.
Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Because of his relationship with
God.
Why not? Not because he didn't keep.
Because he wasn't commanded to do it.
It's a higher level.
Okay. What's a higher level? How high a level can you get before?
Higher level like this.
Then after the Mount Torah.
Let me do what a higher
How
level.
high can you get?
Let me do a higher level. A higher level is this: to comprehend and understand that which you have to do without being commanded to do it.
Right. So was Abraham on a higher level than Moshe Rabbeinu when he received the Torah?
I would say yes.
On a higher level.
And you know why?
I see.
You know why?
So why does the Torah says anybody came as great as Moses? Why isn't it nobody ever came as great as Abraham? Why?
Listen, that's
why? Answer me.
They're not Jewish men. They're the Kabbalah.
So I want to just get into one idea here.
We're going to tangent. We'll discuss it.
So I want to get into an idea here. So what's our job? Should we be doing any of this what we call hakira? Hakira means any thinking and debating and going into this to try to come to recognize God through the proofs, or no, or maybe through our forefathers, just take it down from the Masorah, the tradition. So it's a big argument here. It's a big argument because the one idea is the Chovos HaLevavos says, yeah, you should try to understand Hashem better, try to work out all the proofs. Because if you understand it, then you'll be much stronger than just believing it without understanding it.
You'll be in awe. You'll be audible. You'll be...
You'll be awed, but because you have a good basis of understanding, you'll know it. You won't just believe it. You'll know it. But on the other hand, there's an additional idea that the other Rishonim say that you shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do any of this fakira. You shouldn't start to work on the proofs, because you might just get like a question, a good question, but you won't know the answer. You might hear a good question, and one of these questions which is very hard, and that's up to the point that there are a few things that it's not even good to think about, because you could end up, could take a person off the right path if he doesn't understand the answer. So therefore, the Kuzari, right? Kuzari is for what? He says that Da es Elokei Avicha. He says you should know the God of your father. So he says the way to do it is through your father. Just your father will tell you how to, right, what to believe, and we take it in tradition. But a person shouldn't work on any of the proofs, and because you never know, he might just get pulled off. So therefore, he says. He brings down he goes into all this idea, and he says that's the idea. You rely on your fathers and your grandfather to believe in the God of Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, where Hashem was with them, and He led them into Eretz Yisrael, and He put His divine presence on them, and therefore Hashem, that's what He holds. But He says you shouldn't try to ever do any of this, proofs, because you might get stuck, and therefore that's dangerous. That's what he brings down together with the Shiltei Gibarim. There's a sakana. Shiltei Gibarim says it's a sakana. It's dangerous. I'll show you how he says it's a very interesting piece here. But he says all these, you shouldn't go through, let's say, the Sfarim of the Mina, let's say the books of the apostates. Say, okay, I'll go look at their books, and I'll see why they're wrong. Right? Or maybe, when they send out these little, little pamphlets, little booklets,
Jews or Joshke.
They drop them in the mailbox. And so you say, well, maybe I'll look at that and see where they're wrong.
Maybe that's a different thing, though, totally. That's like a propaganda piece. It's not a piece of, independent logical deduction or.
Right.
But you shouldn't look at it either.
But right. Okay. Right.
You should just study Torah.
That's true. Yeah. But he's just saying. But he puts that in here that your person might say, well, I'll see where they're wrong, and I can maybe disprove them. Yeah. But he's saying it's very dangerous. Why? If a person looks in these outside books, he could be Nimshach. Nimshach means he could be pulled after them, right, into their views. Like Aristotle's, the different things. Aristotle, he had a lot of books on what they were into thought and philosophy. That could be very dangerous. And he brings down not to. They were kofer in Torah. They were deniers of Torah. They denied creation. They said there was no judge and there's no judgment.
You wouldn't want to.
The Greeks. Well, that's what they said. They said there's no judge, there's no judgment. That's what the Rambam writes about them.
Only by palace.
And Aristotle thought that a lot of things are just mikra. It happened, just happened, by coincidence. There's no such thing as coincidence. And there's the Rambam, he brings down here that there's no bigger apikoros, no bigger apostate than someone who says that it's a mikra. This thing that happened just happened. There was a coincidence. And therefore he's uprooting the whole Torah. So on such a person, David HaMelech said he's a Rasha. He's totally wicked. And therefore he brings down that our wise sages have taught us Shaloi Lidroish. A person should not seek and go into Ma'aseh Merkava. He shouldn't go into what's happening, on the throne, and the Gemara speaks about this different places. So that already is heavy things. A person shouldn't learn that unless he's already 60 and already his stomach is full. His stomach has to be full. He knows the whole Shas, knows the Gemara. His stomach is full with everything over there on the shelves. Then maybe he can learn Ma'asim Merkava. Like it's about the throne or about what?
What's the throne?
No, about what's happening up high. There's a throne and there's angels around the throne, and then Ma'aser Bereshis and how the world is created. A person shouldn't think into that. Or no, just could be bordering on Kabbalah, but the whole how Hashem created the world, that already what was before. All this is hard concepts to go into.
I guess it's not a tiger.
They didn't want us to learn this at all. Kol Iker. He says our rabbis have said we should not learn this at all.
Where would you learn this?
I'm not sure.
Your stomach has to be full.
You're not 60.
Not from invented.
Your stomach has to be full with Gemara, Chumash, Mishnayos. You got to know all this. When your stomach is full at 60, then a person has a long white beard, but there's a lot that's behind the white beard. It's not just a long white beard. He says even to go to a great rabbi to learn it from them, not right. Even to go to a great rabbi who's a Kabbalist, he says you should for sure not go to a Stamach Kabbalist, but even a great rabbi you shouldn't go learn from him.
I've done that.
No comment.
You're online.
So that's and it says that even the great rabbis, like Rabbi Akiva, the Gemara speaks about that they went into this idea, and says one of them went crazy, one of them went off the right path. Rabbi Akiva, he was able to come out unscathed.
Yeah, because he stopped.
So
Maybe he stopped. That's not like Kabbalah.
What?
That's not like Kabbalah.
The stuff, this is already very deep. So he says that was for Rabbi Akiva and Reb Meir and his Talmud, Reb Meir, Reb Elisha. These are great Tanoim. They wrote the Mishnah. But could you imagine the later generations, the Gemara later? So for sure for us, we don't even reach the fingernails of those Rishonim.
That's not good.
So therefore we can't learn these.
The way tiger sulfates are the final product. When you go to
so he says even something good you shouldn't even learn even from any of these apostates, because it says Harchek me'aleh derachecha. You should keep far away from their ways. Don't even try to learn their ways. And then he brings the Gemara. Gemara says Navayda Zara.
And you don't expect to find the screw and a wood. It's going to be the whole product. So a tiger must.
That brings the pasuk that. Maybe you won't understand the full truth of the answer, and therefore a person might stray from the right path, and he'll go go off the right way.
They have the knowledge that might even convert you themselves. They convince you on the wrong
They
path.
could, right? They for sure could do that.
Yeah.
Even a person thinks he knows, but maybe he won't grasp the answer. He'll grasp the question that they're asking, but he won't grasp, or he won't know the right answer. So it's better to separate yourself from them, and as Kevin said, better to learn Torah. La'asok b'Torah. Exactly. You went through this before, I see. The Shiltei Gibara. It says better just learn Torah, which teaches you how to fear Hashem, and that will be Sur Meirah. That will keep you away from evil. Sur Meirah. It says you stay away from all this. Just learn Torah. And therefore he says that's what we're commanded. Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. It says you should listen. It says the Shiltei Gibara says Shema Yisrael. Listen to Yisrael. Hashem is one. Hashem is our God. Hashem is one. It doesn't say Shema does not tell us you should understand the proofs. You should come to see how Hashem is one, and to think about all this idea of Hashem and how He created the world. No, it says leha min emunah, just to believe that in the oneness of Hashem, through what we got, through what we heard from our father and our grandfather. That's called the tradition. And the Torah and the mitzvahs, that was came through us all through tradition. And therefore he says, a tzaddik, the pasuk says, a tzaddik be'emunah yechya. Tzaddik lives with emunah. He has emunah. It says tzaddik be'emunah. It doesn't say tzaddik has all the proofs and understands Hashem and knows Hashem and understands the whole creation. No, it says tzaddik be'emunah yechya. And therefore he finishes off and he says, Bereshis Chachma Yiras Hashem, Bereshis Hu Eikar Bereshis Yiras Hashem. It says just fear Hashem, and then it says Seif Davar Kol Nishma. It's Elokim Yahweh. He says the end of the whole story, the end of Koheles, is the end of it. You should just fear Hashem and listen to the mitzvahs. So that's where he comes out. I think you should be thinking and always learning and trying to think of a new question and a new piece of Torah. And therefore, and it says, person shouldn't become haughty, that he knows a lot, or that he's strong. Rather, he should know Hashem. He should try to learn the Torah as much as he could. That's how he comes out towards the end.
This is on the upper levels, though. I mean, people in our community, myself, like, we wouldn't be where we are today unless we ask questions and delve into
he's talking.
But this is the upper ends.
He's talking not
country level.
He's talking the proofs, and there's different. You could go into just proving evolution.
All we needed was a simple proof to get our minds open.
Yeah. That's fine, right? That's fine. But he's saying when you go in depth and they have like different proofs of God's existence and battling against the apostates, then you can get into trouble. Yeah, that's already deeper.
So what Rabbi Skolbach does, counter missionary.
Yeah.
Is that controversial? It's an amazing course that he does.
Yeah, so that could be counter missionary. So maybe.
No, I mean it is counter missionary.
Yeah.
But is it counter? This is like.
So
he's a scholar.
Yeah, because he
learned.
He learned in the other time.
And he teaches us in his class where.
But the only reason he learned not because he wants to get knowledge. He wants to know how to counteract it.
Okay, but it even
because
says you can't
it's
learn.
It's a kind of suffering because they take Jewish neshumas away.
I understand.
Yeah, so he.
But then he has classes where like people like me are invited to just to get an understanding of. Not that we should be subjected to a missionary coming to us.
No, but in case a question comes up, you know how to answer.
Yeah, no, I mean the whole class, his whole seminar is fascinating.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. Yeah, so Mr. Kleinberg is saying that maybe he wants to just save people's lives. He feels that it's there is a danger, but what do you do? Sure. What do you do if you see someone drowning? Yeah. So maybe even put yourself in danger to save someone who's going to drown. So therefore, he feels that maybe you should learn up those ideas. So it comes out that in the end of the day, a person has to base his emunah. It should be primarily on the fact that what we got from our parents. Although there are the Chovos HaLevavos, he says that you should see and prove to yourself that Hashem is one. There are a few Rishonim, there's an argument there. He holds that no, you should go after and understand better, because if you understand, then it's not just believing. Mm-hmm. So it's a big argument between the Rishonim. So I read to you one view.
On that note, it wouldn't have the pasuk that we're all familiar with is Na'aseh v'nishma. It would have just been Na'aseh v'na'aseh. Like Lishma kind of intuits that you're going to understand later by learning, by knowledge, by asking questions.
Yeah, that's true. But that's for the whole Torah. For the whole Torah to understand any part of the Mishnah, the Gemara, the Pasuk, you have to ask. You have to understand. Sure, that's for sure true. But here we're dealing with things that are deeper, on a deeper level. So there's a danger to go into that. So now that's the basic idea. Now I was going to say there's an interesting story here in the Gemara. Just tell you what it's about. That there was a great Tana. His name was Reb Shimon ben Chalafta. Reb Shimon ben Chalafta. And he was known as the Askan. He was an Askan, but they explained that he did experiments. What did he do experiments in? So he said he looked into the verse, and the verse states that you should go Lech el Nemala. Shlomo Melech, the wisest king, he said you should go to look at the ants. Why? Because
Go to look
at ants, at the ants on the ground. If you're lazy, you should go look at ants, because you should see their ways and you become smart. And then the verse says, and the ants, they're very busy. They're always working, even though they don't have a ruler. There's no ruler, there's no chief, there's no overseer. That means there's no king. There's no king over the ants. And still, she prepares all the bread that she needs in the summer. That's the verse that it says. So Shimon ben Chalafta, right, you got the verse? You hear that so far? The ants, they prepare all their food in the summer, even though there's no one overseeing them. There's no king. There's no king of ants. There might be a queen bee, but there's no king of ants. So he wanted to see if that's true. So he went and he said, I want to check it out. So he went in this middle of the summer and he put his coat over a big hill where the ants were there, and he made it very shady there. So he wanted to make them think, right, it's the ants don't like the hot summer, so they want the shade. So he put his coat over the whole hill, and he made a lot of shade, and then an ant came out, and he saw it was all shady outside. So the ant went back in. By the way, Rav Shimon ben Chalafta, he saw which ant went out. He knew, he made a little mark maybe on the ant, because he had to know which ant that was. And that ant went back and signaled to the other ants that
the shade outside.
The shade outside. So we could come outside. It's not so hot anymore in the middle of summer. So all the ants piled out.
Wow.
And they started going out to get some food. And all of a sudden, Rav Shimon ben Chalafta, he took away his coat. He picked up his coat. All of a sudden it was hot and the sun was beating down. And they didn't like the shade. They didn't like all the sun. So what happened was, the other ants, they went to that ant that told them that you should go outside, and they killed that ant.
Oh.
Yes. I'm sorry. Sorry to say that. And because he misled them. He told them wrong information. So
with or without intent.
Right, without intent.
Yeah. Argue later after that.
Not relevant to me.
So Reb Shimon ben Chalafta said, "Oh, look what's happening here. They killed the ant." But how could they do that? Shouldn't they have asked permission from the king? They should have. They should need permission to kill an ant that made a mistake.
Right.
So Shimon ben Chalafta said, "From here I see that there's no king on the ants." That's what he. That was his. He deduced that because the king is in charge of the. The whole. The army. So they didn't even ask. They didn't ask any king. They just killed the ant on the spot. He saw what they did, and they would just attack the ant right away. So that's the end of the story. The Gemara there. That's the. So now the Tosfos asks. He asks on him the following question here: that why could Reb Shimon ben Chalafta do that? If Shlomo HaMelech said that they don't have a king, so they don't have a king, why did he go and he's going to check it out? Why are you checking it out? What's your question? You have a suffix here? You have a doubt? The pasuk says it. The verse says, "Go to the ant." So you go to the ant. You go to the ant to see, but you have to trust Shlomo when Shlomo said that they don't have any king. So you trust him. Why are you playing tricks and you're experimenting? You call him the experimenter. Why are you calling him an experimenter? So the Tosfos brings it down, and he even brings a case where there was a student. There's an interesting story there that a student heard his Rebbe say the following thing. He has a story there about he had a doubt into what his Rebbe had told him. His Rebbe had told him about how big a certain rock was, and it's a Gemara there. The Gemara says that, let me see if I'll quote it if you want. That Rabbi Yochanan had a student, he told him that he saw a big rock that would be for the Beis HaMikdash, and the student went overseas, and he didn't really believe his Rebbe that there would be such a big rock. He went on a ship and he went to a different land. He saw a big rock, so he came back to his Rebbe. He said, it's possible to have such a big rock. So the Rabbi Yochanan said, but what you don't believe me. Well, you had to go check it out to see on your own, and that was the end of that student. Wow. So Tosfos wants to know. You see that you have to trust your Rebbe. So why would the Reb Shimon Chalafta? He should have trusted Shlomo. So Tosfos says that there's a big difference here. That he says Tosfos says one way is that he wanted to find out how Shlomo HaMelech knew. He wanted to experiment, see his source. But they bring down from the different Achronim, they want to say that the difference was that he really believed. Reb Shimon Chalafta believed in Shlomo HaMelech, but he wanted to strengthen his emunah. He believed 100%, but he wanted to even fortify his emunah. So he did that test. So he brings down that idea that if you can't put your emunah based on the questions, based on your doubts and asking and answering. The emunah has to be firmly based on the fact that we believe. It can't be based on any theories and testing and trying to see the answer on your own. It has to be rock solid because your father said so. So Reb Shimon Chalafta, he was just doing it to make a fortification and see it with his own eyes, just to fortify it, but it wasn't going to be the basis for his belief. So that's how Achronim say on this. But that's the main balance. The balance has to be 100% rock solid, your belief, based on the fact that your father told you, not based on any proofs.
Right.
Okay.
Thanks for going back to our question.